That's just fucking killed me.
Hello, everyone. You've joined us quite unexpectedly, actually. We were just... well, it wasn't actually a joke, but apparently it was very funny.
It was fucking hilarious.
We are in Santorini at the moment on our honeymoon. We thought we would pick up a room, and
You might
I
be
don't know if
able
you can
to-
hear that.
There is a choir of dogs somewhere up a mountain.
And I said, I really want to go and give them a cuddle. And Jess said...
I said something like, oh, they might have rabies.
And I said, just because they've got rabies doesn't mean they don't want a cuddle.
And then Jamie just said, if I die young, that's what I want on my headstone.
Because it's true. Just because someone's
they've
got...
rabies doesn't mean they didn't want to cuddle. Can you imagine the questions people would ask me? Is that how she died? No, it's not. She was hit by a car. What's that got to do with rabies? It doesn't. It's just something that she made me promise that I would put on a fucking headstone. It's a div.
I just feel like stray dogs are the most likely to get rabies, so give them a fucking cuddle.
I can't. That's so fucking funny.
It's just
Oh
true.
my god.
It's just true. We are really sorry that we haven't been able to do a podcast in a while. And I'm also sorry about the sound effects. I'm sure they'll stop in a minute. They just seemed to start as we were
Do you know what I've just
recording
realised?
this.
We've not done our intro because we went straight into laughing about what you want on your headstone.
Do you know what?
We do an intro.
Put the intro on.
Fucking hell. Ready?
Yep.
You're listening to the Wandering Womb podcast with Jess and Jaimi. Strong women, strong drinks,
Sorry.
strong views, and strong language.
Oh my god, you kill me. Right, they've got their intro now. That's it. They've got their intro. They know what this is. It's a podcast. They've been told who it is. It's me and you. May and they. Having a drink, overlooking
Absolutely.
the entire island of Santorini.
Actually, not the entire island, just like
How
some
much
of
of it? There's a lot of it.
Yeah, like if we go like right, you can see more, and then straight ahead is the sea, and you'll see in the morning.
Exits are here, here, and here. You can exit over there, but you'll get a broken back.
Yeah,
You'll break your ankles as you land.
absolutely.
Yeah, we are a bit. We've had a drink. I don't know how off cut you are, but
I'm
I
not
just-
too bad actually.
I just went to make us another drink and nearly fell down 3 whole steps. There's only fucking 3.
It is dark though.
It is. It's 12 minutes past 1 in the morning in Santorini, and we are halfway up a fucking mountain hill thing. Jamie, we just landed basically a few hours ago, and Jamie treated me to this incredible sweet and had all fresh flower petals strewn everywhere and balloons and a bottle of champagne on ice, candles, a cake with love hearts on it. Fucking, it's amazing. It's got a private pool that overlooks like the sea. It's like, it's just, I mean, if you'd want to see it, go on our social media, because probably going to be throwing it up for a week.
Throwing up for the week.
We've had an amazing weekend, haven't we?
We've had an awesome last few weeks. We've had
We have.
We've had a
actually, few
difficult
weeks. That's why
month
we've
or
not
so.
done. That's why we've not done a podcast, because we were in Portugal for a fortnight, weren't we?
Yeah.
With family.
Yeah,
And
we've
then
had
we
a
came
difficult
back.
couple of months, and then we've been to Portugal, and then we've had a proper summer rest, and then we're gonna get back into it.
Yeah, for sure. We had. We just had like this fucking, honestly, my dream wedding. I can't wait to share. Like, oh, I just touched my mic. Oh no, I didn't touch my mic. Oh, maybe I did touch my mic. Fuck it, I don't know. I've had a drink, but we had like the dream wedding. Like, it was, I mean, what could have been better? Our wedding was
It was
fucking
lovely. It was so
awesome.
brilliant.
Everybody loved it, and we had the best time ever, didn't we?
Yeah.
We were so fucking pumped the night of our wedding that I couldn't even sleep. I just stayed up. I was just awake in bed being like, this is the best day of my life. I didn't want to go sleep. I didn't want it to end. I didn't want to go sleep because then it'd be the end of it. And then
I actually think that we should be really brutally honest at this point and say that we were both having I think it's important that we're honest. We were both having extreme catastrophic thoughts because of how perfect everything had been. We both thought that, for some reason, I was the one who was going to die in a car crash.
It's so weird. Catastrophic thought. This is not what I thought this podcast would end up about.
No, we're actually going to talk about Meghan and Harry, but
Yeah,
we'll introduce. We'll sort of talk about this
catastrophic
first.
thoughts are really common, and it doesn't mean you're ill. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. They are almost like a way, I think, of your brain sort of going, why is everything going right? But what if this happened? But what if this happened?
It's a way of your brain mentally preparing you, ready
for
something bad that's going to happen.
And I think that happens when you're used to bad shit happening
and you're used to trauma and living in trauma.
Yeah, when you live in levels of distress and trauma, suddenly when things start going right, it's almost like your brain's like, but what's coming next? What could happen? What could destroy this? And it was weird because me and you were both having literally the time of our life, the best. That wedding was fucking immaculate. It was perfect. Like, it was I think I will always remember that as the best day of my life. I can't think of anything that's going to top it. It was just perfect, and I just can't. It was just amazing. It was like a dream. I kept thinking I was going to wake up, and I dreamt it all. Yeah. And then, for me, and like I didn't know this until Jaimi told me. Like, what happened for me was that I was laying in bed. Jay had fallen asleep on me from, like, we were both dancing all night and all the rest of it. Was amazing. And I was lay there awake thinking, well, what if this happens? What if I die? What if Jay dies? What if, like, this can't be this good? This can't be this amazing? This can't be this perfect, because something's going to have to fuck it up. Yeah. And I was sort of dealing with that on my own, and then you woke up probably about 3 a.m, something like that, and you were still lay on me. Yeah. And we were having a cuddle and a snack. We had a midnight snack because we were both starving. We've been dancing for hours. It was like doing fucking Zumba, but for 5 hours. And
in a wedding dress.
And I told you how I was feeling, and you were like, oh my God, I was feeling the same way, right?
Yeah, and then over the last couple of days, we actually realised that it's been very, very similar. And I think that I actually think that it's really important that we talk about catastrophic thinking more.
Yeah, because people think they're weird, or there's something like, almost like disordered or wrong with them.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes people might think that they might be suicidal when actually they're preempting what is the worst thing you could do in this situation.
What's the worst thing that could happen here?
Yeah.
And I definitely do think for those of you that have, like, lived through years and years and years of distress and trauma, or where you've been treated really badly by people, when things start going well and people actually really do love you and care about you, I think there is an element of real, like, deep subconscious distrust of that situation. Not necessarily of the people, but like this is too good to be true type.
Something bad's going to happen.
Something's got to come and fuck this up now.
And you might not even think about that consciously. No. It might just be that, when something's going extremely well and you're settled, doing well, feeling calm, that you are waiting, and you end up being on edge, waiting for something bad to happen.
I remember this, right? I had a very, very, very strong experience of this when I was completing my PhD and getting ready for Viva. And that was because I had so many bad things happen to me during the PhD. Everything from, like, being told I had to have my cervix removed, all the way through to, like, being bullied and having to take, like, tribunal action against my university and all that sort of stuff. I had a really, really rough PhD. And when it got to Viva, and then as the dates closed in and I thought, oh my God, I'm actually going to finish my doctorate, I'm actually going to get a PhD, my brain started doing this thing where it was like, you're going to die. You're going to die before the Viva. Yeah. Like, you're never going to get to do this Viva. I
did the same with my degree, with my undergraduate degree.
What, at the end of the degree?
I kept on thinking, oh, maybe they'll give me, like, an honorary degree when I die before I graduate.
Yeah,
And I was thinking, why are you saying this, Jaimi? And I was thinking, well, that's not even as good as getting your actual degree.
I remember just thinking that I was going to work really hard and do this entire doctorate, and then in the run-up to the Viva, I was going to, like, die in a car crash or die of, like, a mystery illness or something, and then I was never going to finish it, and it was going to be like like I'm like lay on my deathbed being like, I never finished my doctorate.
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing is they feel very, very real, but they're actually to do with your deepest sort of insecurities and your deepest, almost like a fear of tranquility, like a fear of calm, like that you don't know how to exist without trauma and distress. So then, and also especially when other people use you or really harm you, when you're suddenly then surrounded by people that actually love you and care for you, it feels very alien.
Yeah.
And very dangerous. Because it's just not normal.
Yeah.
And I think that it really does sort of say something that me and you were like, you know, we'd got married, and obviously we've been married ages. We've been married for like 16 months or 15 months or whatever it is.
And we've been working so hard towards this, like, wedding, and...
Yeah, this is our, like, dream wedding.
Yeah.
But then it did literally come off, didn't it? It was like the perfect wedding. And then, yeah, it was so interesting to then have a conversation with you about, if you can hear water, we're in a pool.
Well, our feet are in a pool.
My feet are in a pool. You've taken your feet out now? You got a bit cold because you went and rescued a fly in the pool.
Yeah, I did.
It's 1 a.m.
And that was even before I was drunk.
Do you know what makes me laugh about that is that you were like, I'm not going to get in the pool, I'll just put my feet in. And then a fly went in the pool halfway down it, and she fucking launched herself in to go and rescue it.
I am sitting here, like a, you know, able-bodied human. I can rescue that fly. Why would I not do it? Like, you're laughing, but...
I am laughing.
But, like, that's how I feel.
I know, that's why I love you. That's what I was talking about.
But, like, how can anyone, like, I don't know, probably people can, but I wouldn't be able to watch that happen to any creature if I know that, like, you know, I got a bit wet, that's it. Got a bit wet, got a little bit cold, put a towel on, I'm fine now. The fly's safe and alive.
We hope.
It is, I saw it.
Oh, good. It'll probably bite you later.
Well, then if it bites me, it's the circle of life.
That's not the fucking circle of life. The circle of life does not involve you saving something that then comes and bites you to infect you. That's not the circle of life.
It's not going to kill me, though, is it?
Who
and
knows?
if it does, then something will get to eat my body, right? And then on my gravestone it'll say, just because they're rabid doesn't mean they don't want a cuddle. Anyway.
We wanted to, obviously we've sat around this pool having a drink.
And actually this morning before
we flew out.
Yeah, before we flew out, whilst we're still packing because we leave everything to last minute, we put GMB on. And for those of you who watch sort of news-related chat stuff, you'll have seen that Meghan and Harry have done a recent interview. And
it's Meghan's podcast has come out, and then
no, she's done an interview.
Yeah, she's done an interview on the back of the podcast coming out. That's what happened.
Yeah,
and already I've seen so many shitty headlines about her podcast, like rinsing it. And then there was this interview that she's done it's in the US. It's a US interview.
Yes.
And this morning the coverage was like wall to wall Meghan Markle.
Yep. People pretending to know her, like, not. I don't mean pretending to know her as if to say like, oh yeah, she was my friend at school, as in like people
like psychoanalyzing her.
Yeah, people being like, so okay, I'll go back a little bit. I will backtrack a little bit. So, this was my perspective on the news coverage this morning, and that is that we are very close, essentially, to a national strike across the UK. So many different companies are striking, and so many different companies and organisations, services, because of a mixture of strikes and from the sort of, you know, the rise of the prices of energy and cost of living, cannot run their businesses. So things are fucking failing. We've also got, you know, a new Prime Minister coming very soon because of all the shit that Boris has done. And
I keep forgetting about that, you know.
Yeah, there's a reason that you keep forgetting about it, because the press aren't talking about it, and there's a reason the press aren't talking about it.
Because he's on holiday. Because they're all on holiday.
Well, yeah.
Isn't he supposed to be in a Greek island somewhere? Do you think he's there?
They do have like summer holidays,
You're
basically.
right, Bozza? Right, yeah.
Can see him over
I know
there.
he's in the pool next door. You all right, mate? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, he's listening to the podcast.
How's it going, pal?
You see,
I'm unemployed.
I am at present unemployed, and the British people, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. But for me, it is quite obviously, I would say actually a mixture, but mainly we have got all this stuff going on. The fucking ice caps are melting. Like, there's so much stuff going on in the UK, especially because of all the strike action, that really, if we were all paying attention, we would be able to get shit done. But we're not, because actually we're all deciding to pay attention and ridicule a woman who just separated from the rest of her family.
The hatred of her is fucking terrifying. Like, the hatred of her is non-stop. Like, we saw that interview this morning that was talking about racism, and GMB tried to position that as her lying. And then it was that dude, wasn't he? Oh my God, whoever the fuck that man was.
No, he was the presenter.
Yeah, he was the presenter, but he stepped in and showed out. Like, he was like, he oh my God, he stepped in and was like, well, you know, we're here saying this isn't racism, when she is saying she has been subjected to racism by the British media and by the press and tabloids.
And gave example after example after example.
Yeah, she has. And he's like, who are we, you know, to be sat here being like, well, that's not racist, you know. And I was just like, yes, bro.
I was
like,
so glad that he stepped in to say something.
Same, because that was live TV, and I was just so proud of him for fucking sticking his neck out and saying something. Dude was like, I don't want to guess his ethnicity, but
I think he was South Asian.
I would say South Asian too.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, it can't have been easy for him to, like, the other two presenters were white. Like, the guest,
it was one
the guest
presenter
was white,
and then one guest.
Yeah, that's right. Presenter was white, guest was white. And I think he did an amazing job at pushing back on them and putting real pressure on them around their comments.
He did a great job.
But the hatred of Meghan Markle is something else.
It is an absolute overlap and intersection of a woman being successful, being beautiful, being
young,
loved, being young, and then obviously the main two is that also she's a woman and she's mixed race. Yeah, you cannot be all those things if you are a woman and you're mixed race.
And let's add in, you cannot then also marry into the royal family.
Yeah,
because it's not just all those things. It's the big one, which is she is then connected with the royal family. Yeah, and they ain't having that shit.
I think
no matter how much they pretend that there's no racism, it's got fuck all to do with racism. Do you know what as well? I'll tell you what else it is mixed in with the racism. She's assertive and intelligent. Yes. And Harry knows he don't want her in that family, and she knows she don't want to be in that family.
And they both know why, and they both know what could happen.
Yeah, they do, and they know
and they don't want to put their family at that level of risk.
And the fact is, they're independent and self-motivated enough, and they're brave enough that they've gone, do you know what? This isn't a safe environment for us or our kids. We're gone. We're off. And then, you know, the royal family are like, oh, fuck you. We're taking your security. You know, we're not going to support you anymore. And do you know what? They still fucking went. I have a lot of respect for that. Yeah. I really do.
Because
it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Harry knows she's going to end up dead.
Yeah. I think that one of the most difficult things that I have perceived in this whole debacle is the amount of journalists, especially the royal journalists, who make out like they know her. And they do not.
Weird, isn't
you know, you get this random fucking journalist who no fucker knows on a morning breakfast show being like, well, actually, do you know what? I think the royal family have treated her very well. You don't fucking know that.
I know.
You ain't got a fucking clue. Have you ever met her? No. Have you ever spoken to her? No. Have you ever spoken to any of the royal family? Probably not.
Have you lived with Liz? No.
But also, you know, Meghan was clearly talking about, in one of the things she said in this interview, she said, why would I want to give a picture to the press of my newborn babies when they have been racist
when they're
about
using,
them.
like, the N-word. She specifically said they used the N-word
Yeah.
about her kids.
Yeah. Before letting everyone else see them. And I'm sorry, but like I think that's the normal thing. You know, when my friends have had babies, when your friends have had babies, you send pictures to your closest family first, and then after those important people have seen your baby, then you post on social media. It's the same but on a bigger scale.
But the thing is, the royal family are owned almost. Like they only survive via the press, by the British press.
Yeah, I agree.
Otherwise, they just like fade into obscurity. They don't exist. They don't do anything. They have no value whatsoever. So the only way they continue is through almost like this traditionalist, committed, loyal press.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's what they do. They do like this. Oh, they've, you know, what's her face, Kate and Will. Oh, they've released a new image of their child. Do you know what I mean? It's like this big deal, and now they're going to put it on a plate or something.
Yeah.
You have to buy the plate, and it's celebrating some obscure bullshit. But like, she obviously, Harry and Meghan don't want to do that, and the hatred toward. Do you know what I don't get as well? Right, he has repeatedly and clearly made his case for his views. I'm talking about Harry right now, and his perspective and his worries and concerns, and yet she gets blamed for it. It's like, oh, she made him leave the royal family. No, I'm sorry. No, she did not. He has repeatedly made his argument clear.
Yeah.
He knows how his mum fucking died.
Yep. Agreed.
That lad knows what happened to his fucking mother.
Yeah.
And he knows that the same shit awaits his wife if they don't fuck off right now and try and build themselves a life.
Yeah.
And actually, I wish there was, I hope, okay, I'll put it this way, I hope there are a lot of people around them giving them loads of support and loads of love and saying you've done the right thing. You've done the right thing to exit a toxic environment. It does not matter if you're the royal family or if you're some average normal person
on a council estate.
Yeah, everyday Joe, just normal one of us. It doesn't matter. Exit a toxic situation, run, don't look back, don't go back. And that's what they've done. And it's amazing that they've done that amongst all this pressure. But fuck me, they're going to pay the price for it, because that family ain't going to let that go.
I think that
Neither will the press.
See, what I actually think is more about the press than it is about the family. I think they have continually said, we love the Queen, we love Grandma, we love, you know, and we all have a good relationship. And what they have actually pointed to is that it's this some sort of press system, who basically control the royal family. But I think one of the things that has annoyed me and upset me is the possessiveness of them and the ownership of them.
Yeah.
So Meghan mentioned that she was saying, you know, well, why would I want to give the photos of my kid to the media when they've said all these racist things before I get to give them to
my own
family who will love them.
Yeah.
And this journalist who was a guest on GMB this morning was saying, well, actually, none of the tabloids have said the N-word. And, you know, there was just a few social media trolls, and she should respect what the tabloids do for her. And I thought, who are the tabloids for? They are for people, largely, actually, nowadays, on social media, who are all saying these exact words. They are using the N-word. Who do they think read the tabloids? The people. Who are the people? People who are racist. And they were like, well, they did a poll not long ago, and they found that 55% of people actually really still quite liked Meghan. That means 45% of people didn't, and that's a fucking huge amount of people.
Media. Yeah, it is.
Let them
That's
live
like
their fucking life.
Millions of people.
And like, they don't know her. How can 45% of like a huge amount of people who are polled say that they do or don't like her? They don't know her.
No, that's such an interesting comment, Jamie, because you're right. If somebody said to me, do you like or dislike this person? I'd be like, I don't know. I've never fucking met him. But it's the fact that people feel that strongly about her. She's going to divide opinion for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
And the thing is, right, people that generally support sort of like the royal family and even towards a more extreme version of sort of like royalists, they don't want to fucking hear the criticism of the royal family. They don't want to hear the fucking, you know, underbelly of things like why Diana was killed. And for those of you listening that don't think she was killed, catch the fuck up, will you? Like, sorry, but like, I ain't got the fucking time to explain myself. That woman was fucking offed. And like, it was so obvious. It's so obvious. And the fact that Harry has given several public interviews saying, if I don't get Meghan out of this fucking country, out of this family, I am worried what they'll do to her.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
And his kids.
Yeah, that's all you fucking need to know.
He adores her, and they have a love, you know, from the outset. You know, as I've said, I don't know him, but what I can see is only what I can see. That's all I can see. But they have a really, it seems like an honest love for each other.
Yeah, it does. And also, he has a real legitimate fear that if he didn't act to protect his wife and his kids, that something terrible would happen to them. And do you know what? I fucking trust him. I do. I think
100%.
I think he's right. I think something terrible would happen, and that's going off the fact that
it's like you have to feed the press, otherwise they'll do something bad to you.
Well, that guy, I'm so sorry that I don't know his name because I never watched TV. We just flicked it on while we were packing, didn't we? But he was on the TV this morning discussing this, and he actually gave examples of racist headlines and said that like Meghan Markle had caused, what was it, a drought because she eats avocados and or something. Or
and there was actual like very quite overt
racism. Yeah,
from like
calling her like saying straight out of Compton.
That was it, straight out of Compton. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, what the utter fuck? Like, and we all know that headline existed. We all fucking saw that headline,
and we all know why it's racist.
Don't play now that yeah, exactly.
Because people are like, oh, why is that racist? You fucking know, and if you don't know, look it up.
I know, yeah.
And then if it, you know, if you're going to say,
if you don't know what straight out of Compton means, I suggest you go and look it up.
But like, also, if you're going to say that you don't think something's racist because you don't know what it means, then that's not your job to say whether something's racist or not. You need to look it up.
Say, I don't know what that means, and therefore I don't have an opinion.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things about her that trigger people. Like,
they don't like that she's American. I think there's a lot of jealousy towards Americans from British people.
There is. And
there is almost this like, and I think perhaps some of this comes from Hollywood, some of it comes from porn, is the sort of hyper femininity. I
really like Meghan Markle. I've not noticed a single thing yet about her that I dislike or even like concerns me one bit. She comes across as a very independent-minded, strong, interesting, intelligent woman. And not only that, I think she's got a real strength of character to deal with a fucking knobhead dad constantly going to the press selling stories about her, blackmailing her, going like, I will go to the press every day until she speaks to me. And that woman has not bit once.
Yeah, she's done really well.
How fucking hard that is. Yeah. That is her dad. Her dad is going to the tabloids selling shit about her every day in order to like feather his own nest, and also in order to like humiliate her into giving in.
Yeah.
That is a real strong woman to deal with that. Like, she's amazing to put up with that on top of everything else that's going on. Yeah. She knows the shit she's got, like, that she's in, essentially. She's had children with a prince of a family.
The most famous royal family in the world, arguably.
And on top of that, we don't know what the private conversations are that have happened between Harry and Meghan, but I'll tell you something now. They were fucking important enough and concerning enough that those fuckers upsticked and left.
Even if it was just about the paparazzi.
Yeah, it was enough. Yeah, but that's enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was enough that they fucking was like, that's it, we're done. Fuck royal duties, we're off. We value our fucking lives.
I just think
there's something
the ownership, the way that the public and the tabloids and the journalists feel that they own anyone in the public eye is disgusting. And the way they feel like okay to comment and like they make out like they know people. And do you know what it makes me feel like? You know, like when the weird kid at school has spoken to the pretty popular girl once, and then they pretend that they know them. And then they're like, oh, she's such a bitch. Like, she like, fancied me, and then she stood doing it. No, she said hello to you once.
Yeah.
So fuck off.
I'm sorry, but what you just said screams Piers Morgan to me.
Yes, it does. I was actually describing a guy who I used to work with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Piers Morgan, his obsession with Meghan Markle is, like, I'm not being funny, but...
It's weird.
It's like stalking.
Yeah, it is like stalking.
Harassment and
I agree.
stalking.
I agree.
He blocked me for that, you know.
Did he?
I didn't even tag him either, so I don't know. Fuck knows how he found the tweet, but like ages ago, whenever it was, over a year probably, I'd said.
He comes across as unprofessional and like unhinged.
He actually comes across
like he's lost
as
control.
Really, really like resentful and angry and obsessed with her.
Yeah, he comes across like he's lost control. Out of like obsession.
I posted, not even like seriously, I posted just
and
flippantly
people who
about
are
him
racist and misogynistic will grab onto that.
Yeah, he does. His hatred for her is like smouldering sort of hatred. I don't think that's going to go away, and it does worry me that so many people think it's so. Like it's just Piers having an opinion. Not sure it is, because he has not left that woman alone now in the public eye for so long.
I know, like, there's bigger fish to fry, Piers.
There really is.
And also, like, just because people... What annoys me is when people are like, well, why do they keep going to the press? She's gone to the press a couple of times to clear her fucking name. Because people are lying about her.
Let's talk about this, Jaimi.
Yeah.
Me and you watched that bit of the interview this morning with some fucking royal correspondent, nobody, being like, oh, she needs to stop talking to the press, and it's becoming a bit obsessive, isn't it, the way that she talks to the press. And the first thing I said to you across the bedroom was,
there is a media article about her every single day lying about her.
This isn't an attention thing. I said, and it makes total sense that naturally over certain particular issues she would want to clear her name, because there are things being said about her and Harry and her family and stuff like that where she wants to set the record straight. You can totally understand that. But then the other thing that me and you watched on that interview when we were pottering around was that whoever the fuck it was, being like, she's made comments that the tabloid press is inherently racist and she needs to like watch what she's saying and be more
because they've
careful.
Been very nice to her.
Yeah, and I thought,
have they? Fuck.
And I thought, what the fuck, dude? You fucking know that the tabloid press is inherently racist. You know what systemic racism is. What the fuck are you doing gaslighting on social,
And also, she has freedom of
TV.
speech.
It also sounded a little bit like a threat. A bit like she needs to watch her fucking mouth.
Do you know what it came across to me? And when people like tolerate a minority up to the point where they disagree.
Or up to the point where they find any voice or power whatsoever.
So like when I was in quite heavily into local politics, it was like, oh, we need a young woman. Like, because they wanted it for, looking diverse and listening to young people and listening to women. As soon as I said something they didn't like, it was almost like we gave you power, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we gave you power, we take it away.
And almost like, who do you think you are? But also, obviously, I'm white, but, Meghan Markle's mixed race. It's even, I think actually that's one of those things where it's actually much worse with black, Asian, mixed women.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, absolutely. Because
of the sort of, I guess it's hard to explain in a relatively short podcast, but how I actually think some of that comes from like slavery and like ownership and being like, we are above you, we have lent you this power. If you use it to speak against us,
we'll remove
then
it
you
again.
are disgusting. Then like, who do you think you are? And we will come out with all the racism again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, when you think people are listening to you, and this is from a slightly different perspective, but when people basically, and they call you all misogynistic slurs, she's getting that, but from the perspective of misogynistic slurs and racist slurs.
Yeah, definitely. And that's because by being an intelligent, successful, mixed-race woman, she is breaking lots of social rules. And then on top of that, she married a white prince, as you say, one of the most, if not the most, well-known and popular and powerful royal families in the world. Yeah. She's, for one, and I'm not saying that I believe this, but she's not supposed to be there. Yeah. It's a glitch, essentially. It's like, how did
An American especially.
Yeah, and an American.
Because Americans are almost like the opposite of like British tradition, and do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of jealousy around Americans, like, because I think Americans are very sexualised in our community, and, you know, people are actually jealous of that.
Americans are almost raised to be more confident and more assertive than British people are.
Yeah, 100%.
And you'll get British people saying things like, "Oh, fucking Yanks, Americans, they're so loud, they're so confident." And you're like, well, yeah, or maybe we're not.
Yeah.
Have you thought about it like that? Like, have you thought about, you know, like, there's a reason why cultures and communities all over the world laugh about how, like, uptight and apologetic British people are.
Yeah.
It's not because it's a joke, it's because that's how we're perceived worldwide.
Yeah.
And therefore, you know, we then look at American people and go, fucking hell, they're fucking loud and confident, and almost to the point where we think they're arrogant or overconfident. Well, no, maybe it's that we don't have that, and so we see it as overconfidence when actually it's just confidence. Like, it's just, but we don't, like, if you think about the way that we punish confident people in British society, because we do.
Yeah.
We talk about this. One of my fucking pet hates.
Well, especially it's confident people who don't fit the stereotype of like a white, rich, established man.
Yeah.
Who is charismatic.
This is one of my pet hates. This is truly one of my pet hates, especially towards women, where it's like, be more confident, be more confident. Why? You know, you've got no confidence in yourself. You've got no confidence. You should raise your self-esteem. You've got low self-esteem. But I'll tell you something now. Do you know how fucking hard it is, right? Having fucking high confidence and high self-esteem. People hate you.
Yes, they do. People are very, very jealous.
If you fucking know who you are, what you're good at, and what you're capable of, you will get constant, never-ending shit for it, right? But it's the same fucking people being like, oh, you need to be more confident, you need to be more assertive, you need to, you know, you've got low self-esteem, you need to work on your self-esteem. Fucking hell. Tell you something now, it's not fucking easy being confident in yourself. People don't like that shit one bit. No. And that's what happens with Meghan Markle as well. Yeah. Like, she's fucking smart, she's successful, she's attractive, she's got a career behind her in Hollywood. She's alright, man. Like, genuinely alright. Like, if all this falls to shit, she's gonna be alright. They don't fucking like it. She's not supposed to be anything. The royal family is supposed to be the thing. So the fact that
she's got a career outside of that. Yeah,
she exists outside of them. Yeah. Makes them insecure. Yeah. Right? Pisses me off. I really just, I feel like as well, let's just look at this from a slightly different angle. At what point do we accept that this is harassment of her?
I agree.
Like to the point where it's like collective harassment of one woman.
And at the end of the day, she fell in love with someone, and he was born into being a prince. He doesn't want to be a prince. She doesn't want to be a princess. Like, that's as simple as it is. But you know what? She tries to do what she can to empower, you know, if that's the words that she uses. I wouldn't necessarily use that. Younger women and girls.
I like her, I do. There's been loads of character traits of her that I've watched and thought, you know, there's a lot going on there. Like I said to you, you know, I really do think it's a strength of character of a person when you've got your actual fucking biological father in the press constantly goading you into an argument revealing more and more private shit about you to try and get you into an argument with them, and she won't bite.
Yeah.
And
she's
she's
doing
so
well to
respectful
not
in
do
it
that.
as well. Whenever she does make any comment about her dad and her family, she's respectful with it. She doesn't fucking... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. She could be like fucking offering them out and shit, but
she could be like threatening them and
that's
like,
what I mean.
You know, and like silencing
She could
them,
be like, "Oh, you say that, I'll talk about you like this."
Yeah, and
which
she
could.
I know.
But you know, even if she did, I would say that that's okay. But she doesn't, and she is actually really quite elegant about it, if that's the right word. And I think that is. Do you know what? I think that is the right word. And I'm not even going to say I don't. Do you know what? That's not how I would behave or react. And I don't think that she should have to behave or react in a way that is elegant.
No.
And I would completely support her if she was like, do you know what? Actually, my dad was an abusive prick.
Yeah, exactly.
He did this to my mum. He made this like dynamic in my house.
This is why I don't fucking talk to
her. But she won't.
But let's
because
talk.
it will give her more. It will give her more shit.
I think we should talk about this because there's some parallels in our own lives to some of this stuff that we're talking about, and maybe that's why we're so interested in it. Like, for example, Meghan knows what people are doing to her. They know what people are saying about her, but she chooses not to bite. She chooses not to retaliate. She has other things going on in her life that are bigger than this bullshit. She knows the truth. She knows what really happened with her dad. She knows why she doesn't want a relationship with him. She knows why she's in danger in the royal family. She knows why they've had to move away. She knows that, for example, they're not going to give them security that the rest of the royal family has, you know, and all the rest of it. But she's still not biting, right? That take it from me, that level of non-retaliation takes a lot.
Yeah.
It really does.
Especially when people are lying about you constantly.
Yeah, when you know that what people... Like, you've got to remember that that woman is a human, right? And if you're listening to this and you're thinking...
She was literally born... Like, she did grow up quite rich, but when she was first born, her mum didn't have a lot of money. Her dad was okay. She's not like... She's just a fucking normal person.
And she...
Like anyone else.
She is
Harry,
dealing
like, even to an extent, Harry's a normal person.
Incredible, like, smear campaign.
Yeah. And what is she going to do? Spend all of her money suing them all?
Rebutting it
like,
all
what's
constantly,
the point? Because one, she can get rid of one, gets rid of, and then another pops up, and then they'll all just be like, oh, she sues anyone who talks about her. Well, yeah. But then what's she going to do? Because then she is going to struggle with suing people.
I know.
It's
I have a lot
really
of empathy
hard.
for her, actually. I have a lot of empathy for Harry. And do you know what? I'm not in any way interested in, like, the royal family per se. Like, I'm not. And in my family, particularly, you know, where I grew up, and like, especially like on my council estate where I grew up, the royal family may as well not exist. Nobody could give a fuck about anybody, except for, like, there was some sort of older couples that were very much, you know, that royalist sort of, like,
where they've got the mugs and stuff.
Yeah, the mugs and the plates, and they love the royal family and the Queen. They love the Queen and they love, like, and all that. But that was very rare. Generally, people that were living, you know, where I grew up, they couldn't give a fuck. They had bigger things to deal with than the fucking royal family. But I have watched this develop, and I have a lot of respect for Harry. I think walking away from an extremely, what he says is a dangerous, toxic institution that would put him and his wife and his children at serious risk for the rest of their life. He does not want to live like that. He would rather completely relinquish his entire position as a prince and as a member of the royal family and to have all these privileges, and he would rather just walk away and go, I'm sorry, I don't want to do it. I need to put myself and my wife and my children first.
We really are living in such unprecedented times.
Yeah.
You know, we've got so much stuff going on, and, you know, I guess it is a big thing that a prince has relinquished all his titles.
It really is.
But at the end of the day...
And he's just gone, do you know what? This is fucking toxic as fuck.
But at the end of the day, why are we all gossiping about his wife? You know? I think what else is interesting from my perception is that, you know, you're right in the phrasing that you used about the institution, is that that's what they use. They don't talk about the family. I don't think the family have a lot to do with it. I think that it's the institution around them, the tabloids.
No, I think it's both. I do.
I think it's like the tabloids. I think that it's whoever is in somewhat of control, whoever is sort of saying, you need to go here, you need to talk about this, you need to do this, who has the ultimate control. And I think that the family are annoyed at Meghan and Harry for for speaking out about it. I think that they have for a very long time
Put up with it
and
been
gone
at their
along
beck
with the
and
flow
call,
and been like,
right?
These are the people who we serve, and they may have processed it in a different way. And I think that Meghan has come along, and I don't think it's just Meghan, because Harry has been sort of very different to the rest of the royal family from when he was a teenager. He's always struggled because of what they did to his mum, and I think that that's what's happened, is that they have been like, do you know what, this isn't a safe environment and none of you are sticking up for us or looking after us, so we're going, and we're not going to go quietly, because we're going to be honest, and they don't want them to be honest. And then that is where the animosity is coming from within the
Can
actual
I just say
family.
as well, based on what you were just talking about, do you know, for those of you listening that have been through family trauma and different forms of trauma, the difference between Will and Harry is an excellent example of how the same trauma manifests in two different people.
Agree.
And then they behave and cope with it in two different ways. Harry's response is to get the fuck out of that family and to cut them off and to go and live in his own way that protects him and his family. Will's way of coping with that is to conform and to be part of the institution.
He does it
and
in
to
a
try
way
and regain power from inside. And people do that in lots of different ways. And Harry can't do that. And let's be clear, Harry does loads of stuff around mental health and all that sort of stuff, doesn't he?
Will does as well.
Yeah, they both do, because I think they've both been massively impacted by the death of their mom.
I think that Will sort of pushes the boundaries in ways that makes him look progressive. So, do you remember it was like, oh, he's married a commoner? But, she's still upper class.
She wasn't a fucking commoner.
Well, she wasn't inbred. I'm sorry, but she wasn't related to them. She was one of the first ones that wasn't related to them. So there was that, and then he talks about mental health. He talks about, in some ways he's similar to Diana, but in a way that is more palatable
and
today.
Acceptable, and
but makes the royal family look progressive.
Yeah, but it's not as real as how Harry is.
And that's what they don't like.
Whatever it is, whether it was his experiences, whether it's his trauma, whether it's something to do with him personally, whether it was his military service, who he met, maybe there was people that had influence on him, maybe it was all of those things, which it probably is, because let's face it, that's how human development works. You are influenced by every single thing, every experience, every feeling, everything you see, hear, touch, taste, everything. He is different for some reason, and he never fit in that family, and he knew he didn't. And then he met somebody he fell in love with, and he obviously feels that she is at incredible risk, real life risk, life-threatening risk.
Yeah.
Of whatever, and that could be from the family, or it could be from the tabloids, but
could be both.
Yeah, but if that's how he feels, and he made a decision to get out and protect her and the kids and himself, I can't understand where the hatred comes from. I really don't. I don't get it. Like, are people that obsessed with the royal family that they would rather just put them all at risk in order to keep them together and keep the status quo?
I think that it's been done on purpose by the institution, not the family, but the institution. The institution want a traditional royal family, and anything that steps outside, they have to publicly punish so that it doesn't happen again, and so that they get to keep their, almost like their jobs, but like bigger than that, and that's where I think that it is.
Yeah, it's like power.
It's to be like, you fucking do that, we'll show you what we'll do. We'll show you how we'll punish you. we've done the same before. And I think that is how I perceive it. I think that's very similar to how you perceive it. I'd be really interested actually to read or listen or hear about all the listeners' perspectives, what you guys think. If you
I think
there's
people will be
anything
dead
you've missed.
divided, I do. I honestly think this will be one of our podcasts that proper divides people
I've
around.
seen that feminists are very divided over this. I've seen people
Really?
being like, oh, shut up, Meghan and Harry. Like, you think that you're so important, but just shut up and go away.
Yeah,
And actually,
people just don't realise how important it is.
Yeah, that's from people who don't live in the UK.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people who live in the UK, they remind them of Diana.
Yeah.
So it's very divided in the UK. And actually, I think most people are more sympathetic towards Meghan. I think people are more likely to be sympathetic towards Meghan in the UK than they are to be royalists. There's like absolute royalists, and then there's people who are just normal and sympathetic. I think that's where we'll leave it because it's getting quite late.
It's 2 in the morning.
Which means it's probably about midnight.
It's 2 in the morning. And you're yawning and I'm smashed.
Let's do a cheers to end the podcast. Oh, that rhymed. You're yawning, I'm smashed. Let's do a cheers to end the podcast.
What does that rhyme with?
Smashed, pass, good podcast.
That's reminding me, I really want avocado for breakfast.
Well, I hope everyone will wish for us to have smashed avocado on toast for breakfast.
They will, and if they don't, they're just mean people. That's it. If you're going to bed now and you don't wish for me to have avocado for breakfast, then you know I'll listen no more.
Let's do a cheers.
Cheers.